I'm so excited because I got my Open Gate Quilts Tilted Charm subscription box in the mail, and I cannot wait to work on this project. If you are unsure about what the Tilted Charm Club is all about, it is a quarterly box that Monique Jacobs from Open Gate Quilt designed. So this box only comes quarterly, and the best part, I think, is that if you aren't in love with the idea of mystery subscription boxes, this one is probably perfect for you because you already know what all of the projects are. Here is my project from last quarter. It is so adorable. It is made with a charm pack and then a little bit of extra fabric. You see it's called the Tilted Charm because the design tilts back and forth, and it is just so much fun. Let me show you this month's box and then I will get started on the project. All right, so here is this month's box. And I know what the project is. It's pumpkins that rock back and forth. So, so cute. But we also have a hanger in here to hang up the wall hanging when we are finished, and it is a pumpkin. These are all from Patchabilities. We got one each month, and each month it's designed to go with our project. That wall hanger is just so cute. I love fall. I love pumpkins, so I'm really excited about this one. I've loved them all though. So I can already tell the fabric in this box is fabric designed by Monique. I have loved all of her fabric lines that she has designed, so I'm really excited to have more of this one. Some of her fabric came in her monthly subscription box, and I really loved that fabric as well. So here is all of our extra fabric. So fabric that's going to be on the sashing background, and I'm thinking binding as well because this kit comes with everything we need to complete the project. And then we have the chart pack. So it is Hello Autumn by Monique Jacobs. So if you are interested in purchasing this fabric, that is the fabric line. And I'll show you a few of the prints before I get started on the project. I really love polka dot fabric. Oh my goodness. So cute. Love those leaves. Beautiful. This will be a really fun one to work on and get put up. All right, so I'm gonna get all the fabric cut because I can't share any of the cutting instructions with you, but I will show you putting some of the blocks together and then the quilt all finished. All right, so let's get started on making these cute little pumpkins. You can see how the pumpkin rocks to the side or tilts to the side in this tilted charm pattern. So I do have a few of them made, and I'm going to show you how to put them together. So here are all the pieces cut for one block. And I just want to show you where all these pieces appear on the block. The charm square that you see here is the pumpkin center, and then we have 4 small squares that are going to go around the outside to snowball and make that pumpkin shape. We have a tiny little rectangle here that is background fabric, and then we have the stem, and we have some background fabric that we're going to do a stitch and flip on. So you can see your stem is longer than the square that you use for the stitch and flip, and those pieces are here: the rectangle, the stem, and the little background square for the stitch and flip. And then we have a green fabric here that is different from the background fabric that is going to make the leaf on the pumpkin. And then we have 2 squares that we're going to do stitch and flip on that leaf fabric. These are background colors to make the corners here so the leaf takes shape. Then we have our 4 border triangles that go around the outside that are going to make the block rock back and forth. Just a note, there are 2 different border triangles. They are cut in different directions, so make sure you follow the pattern so that you can get the block to rock in different directions. So here is one of the pumpkins finished, and you can see the border is cut in a different angle so that it rocks the block in a different direction. So you see the wider edge on this one is along this side. So it just allows the block to rock in a different direction. So just follow the pattern's cutting instructions so that you can get that rocking effect in different directions. All right, so I like to start with the pumpkin. So corner to corner to snowball this block. Now you can mark corner to corner on your background squares, or if you like using diagonal seam tape like I have here, you can use that to sew corner to corner as well. So I'm just going to line up the needle on the corner of one of my squares, line up the point of the square on the diagonal seam tape, and just sew right across. The seam guide tape just kind of eliminates that step of needing to mark corner to corner, so you can make a little bit quicker work of sewing these. And then you can use your rotary cutter if you would like. I'm just going to use some scissors here since these are small little pieces, and trim about 1/4 inch away from the stitched line, just cutting off these corner pieces. And then I will press these really well. All right, so there is that block all finished. So now we're going to move on to the stem piece. I'm just going to lay these pieces right side together. The little background square is lined up with the top of the brown stem. And then we're just going to sew corner to corner. If you would like to draw the line on and sew across it, you can, or you can again use diagonal seam tape. And again, I'm just going to use my scissors to trim off the seam allowance, and then press that seam over. And I will use heat to press that nice and flat as well, but I like to finger press it just to get it going in the correct direction. All right, so there's the little stem piece. It's so small, I feel like when I'm holding it, I'm covering most of it, but there's the stem. And so now we're going to work on the leaf. So we have the leaf, it's the green that isn't the background color. And we're just gonna line up one of these squares in a corner and sew across the diagonal again. So a lot of stitch and flip here. Again, if you want to mark corner to corner, do that. I'm just going to use the seam tape I have here. And I'm just going to finger press that side over that we're going to fold over, and I'm going to go ahead and just sew on the next one. I'm pushing it over because I want to get it out of the way. I don't want to accidentally sew over it. If you want to go ahead and trim it, the seam allowance off and press it to make sure it's out of the way, go ahead and do that. And we're just going to sew corner to corner again. Then I'm going to trim off both sides and press this really well. All right, so now we have the little leaf finished, and we're going to sew the leaf on to the stem. Right, and then that other background rectangle, we're going to add that on here on the other side of the stem. And then press the seam, and all of the pressing instructions are in the pattern. All right, so you can see it coming together. I'm going to just sew this top here on to the pumpkin. All right, I'm pressing the seam, and then I'm going to set it with some heat. All right, and there is the pumpkin. It is so cute. All right, so now we're going to add the border on. And I'm going to start with the border piece along the right side of the pumpkin. And I'm going to leave about 1 to 1.5 inches overhang on the bottom of the pumpkin with this triangle wedge here. So when I lay it right sides together, I'm going to make sure 1 to 1.5 inches is overhanging. And I'm going to start sewing a 1/4 inch seam from the top down. And when I get to about where the snowballed corner is, I'm going to stop sewing and back stitch. And you'll see why here in a minute. Okay, so I have a little bit that I didn't sew all the way across here, and I sewed my seam, so I'm going to press, and I am going to press each side with the iron as I work so everything's laying nice and flat. And this overhang at the top here, I'm going to cut. I'm just going to, just eyeball it and cut. And this side we want to leave for right now. We're not going to trim that off. And now that this first side is on, I feel like it goes a lot more smoothly around here. It's the first side where I'm always thinking, okay, which side do I leave open and all that kind of stuff. After you get the first side done though, smooth sailing. So we're gonna add the top border on now. And what I like to do is leave at least 1/4 inch overhang on the wider side. And I'm going to sew across here, and I'm going to sew all the way across. The first border piece is the only one you need to leave an opening on. So I'm going to finger press that and then press it with the iron. Then we're going to trim off the overhang here. I'm not trimming it off perfect or anything by that manner. If you want to use a ruler and a rotary cutter to trim it off, definitely do that. And then we're going to add the third side on. And again, I'm going to leave about 1/4 inch overhang. If it's a little more, that's fine. We're going to be trimming this block up anyway. All right, so I'm going to press that, trim off. And now we're going to add the final border piece on. And to do that, we're going to lift the first border piece up where we left that opening, make sure it's out of the way. And we're going to sew this fourth side on. Again, leave 1/4 inch overhang on this wider side and sew across. Press. And then we're going to fold the first border down over the side we just sewed on and finish sewing 1/4 inch seam across there. And then we'll just go ahead and press this all really well. You can see how cute it already is coming together. Press it really well, then we're going to trim it up. All right, so it's all pressed. And the thing you really want to remember here is that you want your block lined up straight. So you don't want it turned where the pumpkin is sitting straight. You want the square-ish shape here to be straight. And I find it easier to trim this up with a ruler that is the size that this block needs to be. That size is of course in the pattern, but I'm going to line it up straight on here, eyeball seeing that all the measurements in the pattern are meeting up, meaning the pattern will tell me how far from the bottom of the pumpkin the ruler needs to be and all that kind of stuff. And I honestly just eyeball it because as long as the pumpkin is at least 1/4 inch away on all sides, it'll be fine. If you want it to be perfect per the pattern, all the measurements for the ruler meeting up are given. So I'm just going to trim around here. And this trim lock that I'm using, that is to the size needed per the pattern has these grips on it that you can kind of see through the ruler that hold the fabric, so I can just turn it and trim the other sides. Makes it really easy because I don't have to line anything back up. All right, so there we go. It is all finished and ready to go. I have that one other pumpkin that I showed you before that I'm gonna go ahead and border for you. Because it tilts in a different direction, I just wanna show you how to work the border around this one more time. All right, so I have my pumpkin here and I have the first border. Again, I'm going to do that on the right side. Again, the wider side, we're going to want it to overhang 1 inch to 1.5 inches. And I have it lined up right sides together. Now, the last time we did this, we stopped sewing at the bottom of the block. But something that has helped me so much with adding on these borders is that on that first side you sew on, you're going to always leave the wider side open a little bit to sew that final border on. So always the wider side of the border is going to be left open the first time you sew a border piece onto a block. So I'm going to start just about 1 inch to 1.5 inches down this side to leave it open, and I'm going to back stitch. And then I'm going to sew to the end here. So that wider side is left open. Press. Now I'm going to sew on the next side. And this time we're just going to be working in the opposite direction. But we'll follow all those same steps as before.
Empty hearts and neon lights, they're playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna run off and fly.
All right, and so now all 5 of the pumpkins I need are done. So I just need to organize them how I would like them to be in the pattern, making sure that the ones that tilt in different directions kind of alternate through here. So I have them laid out, and now I'm just going to be adding the sashing I have here between the blocks and border around the outside. So I have that cut and ready to go. I just need to sew it on. And then I'll be adding the pieced border on. So I have the pieced border ready to go. And then I'll be basting the quilt, and I have the backing ready to go. The backing is pieced from the leftover charms in the pack. And I did have to add in my own batting, but I have that ready to go. Then once I have it basted, I can quilt it. Once the quilting's done, I'll trim it up and then I'll add on the binding. I have the binding here ready to go as well. Here is the tilted pumpkins all finished. It is so cute. I machine stitched the binding to the front of the quilt and then flipped it to the back to stitch in place. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I only have one more tilted charm kit coming in the mail, and that'll be a winter theme. I'm so excited to get that one, but I'll be really sad not to have any more of these to look forward to. So I really hope that Monique starts another box like this next year. I will definitely be doing it again if she does. Let me know in the comments if you hope for another box like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.